Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Paul Wright, and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer for the Australian British Chamber of Commerce. Delighted to be holding another one of our highly successful Australian British Chamber of Commerce virtual Meet the Member events, this time for the month of August. May I commence proceedings by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, as I'm here in Sydney. That would be the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. So it's wonderful to see so many of our chamber members and guests join us today. I think many of you have been on one of these calls before, but if any of you that have not, our virtual Meet the Member event basically was born out of COVID. It was a chat, we were missing that interaction between our members. Everybody hated, let's face it, virtual meetings and just, listen to one person speak and then off we go. We still wanted to find a way of our members being able to interact. So today we've got 9 of our fantastic chain members, all from different industry sectors. They're going to have 3.5 minutes to give us an overview of their company, the services that they offer, and most importantly, the type of companies or individuals that they want to interact with. And the reason why I say that's the most important is because we have such a wide variety of different people on the call today. Some of our speakers your company or yourself might not need to utilize, or maybe it's just not for you. That's absolutely fine, but please do listen to them, understand a bit more about them, because what it's about is obviously opening up all of our private networks and seeing how we can benefit each other and make those introductions into your wonderful little black books of clients and corporates in order to make it a successful chamber and for us all to succeed. So as I say, we're going to have 9. We did have 10, but unfortunately one person just had to unfortunately drop out at the last minute. So we're going to give our speakers 3.5 minutes rather than just the 3. So you've got added amount of time with them. And then at the very end, after all of our 9 speakers have done their thing, we're then going to open up to Q&A. But I do want this to be as interactive as possible. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there's a chat box on there. If you click on that, the chat box will come up on your screen there. Please utilize that as much as you like. If it's to interact with our wonderful speakers, to ask any questions, anything like that, please utilize that as much as possible. And then obviously we'll do the Q&A at the end. So we're going to start proceedings with our first speaker. And our first speaker is Mr. John Johnson. John is the Director of Crown World Mobility. And John, your 3.5 minutes start now.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Well, I'm John Johnson, Director at Crown World Mobility, based here in Melbourne. I'm a Tottenham Hotspur and Carlton fan for my sins. I'll get that out the way early. Most businesses eventually reach a point where the person they need is not in the place that they need them to be. It might be a specialist coming to Australia, a leader moving interstate, or a key employee relocating to open a new office, enter a new market, or deliver any important project. And that's where Crown World Mobility helps. We help organizations get the right people with the right skills to the right place. And most importantly, we make sure that they and their families are, really supported along that journey. Because it's a reality that businesses do not move people simply for the sake of moving them. They move people because they need the expertise in a new location, a leader to take on a critical role, or someone who can help the business take its next step. And this is not relevant purely to the large multinational organizations. For smaller or growing business, moving just one person can be transformational to that business. That person might bring a capability that the business cannot find locally here in the Australian market, for example. They might need to lead a new team. They might be supporting a major client project, establishing your Aussie operation, or helping deliver a project that creates a little bit of growth in that stage. But relocation for any individual can create a surprising amount of complexity. There is the move itself, right? I think a lot of us have moved internationally, but there may also be immigration, there's compliance, finding a home, which can be tough in Australian cities these days, identifying a school, supporting a partner, and just helping the whole family settle into that new community. And for the employer, it can quickly become time-consuming and potentially quite distracting. For the employee and the family, it's probably one of the biggest transitions that they'll make in their lifetime, and hopefully a very successful one. Our role at Crown World Mobility is to bring all those moving parts together. So we support businesses with relocations across Australia and internationally, so inbound and outbound, if you like. And depending on the situation, that can include, planning and managing the move, coordinating the immigration and tax pieces, arranging the household goods shipment from one location to the other, helping the individuals find homes, schools, providing destination support and cultural support, and also just giving the employer confidence that that entire process is being properly managed. We work with organizations of all sizes and across a wide range of industries. Some have very established programs and move people regularly. Others may only relocate one or two people a year. For us, they all matter because behind every move is a person, a family, and a business outcome that does depend on getting it right. So who do I want to meet? Well, I mean, essentially business owners who are growing, hiring internationally or here in Australia, expanding into new markets, or finding it difficult to access the skills that they need locally. I would like to have conversations with people in HR, operations, procurement, professional services. And I'd just like to leave you with one closing thought. At some point, almost, I think every growing organization needs to get the right person into the right place. And at Crown World Mobility, we can make that move work for the business, the employee, and the family. And that's me. Thank you for listening.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, John. 3.5 minutes exactly. Fantastic. No,
Thanks,
that was
John.
wonderful, John. And again, it's such an important and valuable aspect that you guys offer because, as many people on this call may have done, we might have all moved overseas. I
Yeah,
remember when I first moved over here, and it's just one of those other burdens you just don't need on your mind when you can just concentrate on your work. So yeah,
that's it.
the service that you offer is absolutely phenomenal. So thank you very much, very, very much, John. Our second speaker is Mr. Evan Batten. Evan is the media training and personal branding coach over at Move You Media, probably the best dressed person in the chamber right there. He did go for a run on the beach in that suit earlier, but now he's back. So, Evan, your 3.5 minutes start now.
Thanks, Paul. I think you've got a nicer suit. I like that shade of blue. But yeah, coming to you all from Sydney, and I've spent 30 years in mainstream media. I started off in the 90s when I left high school as a sound recordist, transitioned quickly to becoming a nightly news reporter, and I specialised in the crime round. For those of you in Australia, I've worked for all of the three commercial networks, 9, 10 and 7, a brief stint with a current affair that took me to Afghanistan, of all places, but I can tell you about that later. But so after 30 years in mainstream media, most of that working as a nightly news reporter, I started to see the need that's emerged dramatically in the last 5 years for people to develop their personal brand and to show up to tell their story. We are seeing the audience reach of mainstream media, earned media, declining at a rapid rate of knots. And yet the appetite for stories and content has never been greater. And so how do organizations find a voice and find a place? You've already got the best assets right there, the people that are doing the technical work that are usually sort of in the background, how to elevate them as storytellers. And this is where we come into it. I now coach C-suite leaders all over the world. In fact, I'm part of one of the networking groups in Manhattan, BNI Manhattan, for those of you that know BNI. And I've just recently joined the Chamber of Commerce here because I've done extensive work across Europe as well. And so there's these central hubs that I've sort of found myself straddling, doing a lot of long haul traveling, more than I ever did as a news reporter. But it's all about zeroing in on a brand new approach to media training, if you like. In the past, it's focused on performative techniques, how you breathe, how you stand, talking points, and it really has almost nothing to do with actually connecting with people. And so that's where we've taken the idea of, I mean, our smartphones are in our pockets all the time. They are an entire TV broadcast studio there in your pocket. The quality of the cameras there, what they can enable us to do by helping us to put ourselves in the story, doing short interviews with other people, and capturing the moments as they happen around us. And this is what I train C-suite leaders to do, to get really comfortable on camera, to connect authentically, to show up as themselves. But at the same time, to leave all of those old media training techniques that sort of create that distance, make themselves sound a little bit more wooden, a little bit more corporate, and how to really connect with an audience. And for the organization as a whole, it's how that they can take a step away from the old production techniques that might have involved bringing in expensive TV crews to create content for them. This is a far more efficient, more authentic, approach to content creation. It is all built around what you can do just with your smartphone. No extra microphones, no extra tripod lights, nothing else, and importantly, no scripts. And so, yes, you can imagine this is great content for social media, for LinkedIn in particular, but it's also about direct internal comms and how organizations can better create corporate culture and improve thought leadership, improve visibility for C-suite leaders who may not be very approachable, may not have much of a presence amongst their own company. And so who would I like to speak to? Well, obviously C-suite leaders, anyone who is ready to really elevate, amplify their impact and really elevate their story, use the power of their actual very human story to make a human connection with other people, because that's where trust is built at scale. It's not only the C-suite leaders themselves that I'd like to speak to, it's anyone in HR, obviously, who also has an interest in people being able to develop themselves professionally from that point of view. CMOs in particular, who are wanting to improve their budget. The cost of content creation is extraordinary. And so to equip and enable executives to be their own storytellers is obviously a great advantage. And of course, executive assistants, anyone who knows their boss is a little bit, wooden, and they'd like to help them become more human and to connect. It's those kind of people that when you have a chat with them offline, they can be really warm and quite human and connecting, and yet you put them in front of a camera and they suddenly become this other version of themselves. So they're the kind of people that I like to work with. And it's everything that I struggled with as a junior reporter, that I was sort of there struggling as a deer in the headlights, how to actually be more human myself. That's what I bring to the table to help C-suite leaders take a step away from those old techniques. Paul, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. I have hit the time. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Evan. That's fantastic. And true, and well, the proof really is in the pudding. Obviously, from a gentleman like Evan, obviously speaks so eloquently and delivers it so well. It's a great opportunity to obviously get that sort of training from yourself. But as you say, there are a lot of C-suite execs out there that are very, very good at their job. But then again, you put them in front of a camera, or they have to speak in front of a public audience, and that's the thing that really scares them. It comes so naturally to so many people like Evan, but obviously for others, it's very, very scary. So it's a great opportunity to get that sort of training. So thank you so much, Evan. Our third speaker. So for our speakers, if I do this from now on, it means we're running out of time, because I want to leave ample amount of time for a Q&A at the end. So our third speaker is Fran Davies. Fran is the founder and director of ANZ PEO. And Fran, your 3.5 minutes, start now.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. And it's a hard act to follow, Evan. You're very professional in your presentation. I thought I would tell our story from the beginning and how we evolved. I founded APO in 2000, or ANZPO now, I can't get used to that, in 2018 after a friend in the UK suggested I explore international on hire. Prior to this, I had many years' experience working in the local on hire industry, but I wasn't aware of the time of how significantly the industry had evolved internationally, with a growing demand, the businesses that could employ people on behalf of overseas companies. The idea immediately resonated with me, and I saw an opportunity to take my existing experience in the Australian market and apply it to international model. That was the beginning of APO and our journey to providing international employment and workforce solutions for overseas companies. Soon after, we onboarded our first employees, and in 2019, my eldest daughter joined me in the business, and then in 2022, my second daughter joined, and together we have grown ANZ PEO into the company it is today, now employing more than 230 people across Australia and New Zealand. In 2022, we took the next significant step in our journey and applied for an on-hire labour agreement. This would allow us to expand our services by sponsoring skilled workers into Australia on behalf of overseas companies. The approval process was a long one, but more than 2 years after submitting our application, we finally received our approval. It was a significant milestone for us and opened an exciting new chapter for the business. It enabled us to further support overseas companies, many of which are based in the UK, that are looking to establish and grow their presence in Australia. Over the years, we've also been fortunate to welcome an incredible team around us. What started as a family business has evolved into a team of talented women who all bring different strengths and experiences to the table. We're in the process of sponsoring one of our team members from the UK, who's currently here on a working holiday visa, but she's worked out so well, we've decided to sponsor her on a 482 visa. More recently, we've taken another important step in our journey, rebranding the business from Australia PEO to ANZ PEO. The new name reflects the evolution of the business and our growing presence across both Australia and New Zealand by bringing the two regions together under one name. ANZ PEO better represents who we are today and our vision for the future. Am I too quick?
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm sitting here 3 minutes and 10 seconds. There we go. No, phenomenal. Thank you very much, Brandon. And again, yeah, such an important role that you play. You know, the amount of skilled workers that we need here in Australia at the moment. Obviously, everybody goes on about it. You know, we have a shortage, particularly in the infrastructure sort of industry sector. So, yeah, such a valuable aspect that you offer there. And I'm sure that everybody will be asking you a few questions after this as well. So thank you so much. Fran, our next speaker. Now, Tomsy, you're definitely going to have to keep it down to 3.5 minutes. I know that you'll go on for 10, but 3.5 minutes. So our next speaker is Mr. Richard Tomsy to his friends, who's the general manager of Hearts and Rugby Union, fantastic charity partner of ours that we use for all of our rugby events. And obviously, it's a big season of rugby coming up as well. So Tomsy, your 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes, start now.
Thanks very much, Paul. Much appreciated. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. So my name's Richard Toms. I'm the General Manager of Hearts in Rugby Union. We are a national charity, and we're dedicated to supporting injured players or permanently injured players who have had their life changed through playing rugby union. Our motto is simply helping rugby help its own, because we lean on the communities, the rugby communities, to help us. So for nearly 2 decades, we provided practical financial assistance to injured players. We call them our very injured players, or our VIPs. The support that went included wheelchair accessible vehicles, home modifications, specialised equipment, rehabilitation equipment they can have at home. We now supply education grants as well as respite for a lucky family, one of our lucky families each year. And we also emergency financial support if and when required. So we're helping people regain their independence and improve their quality of life. While our work centres permanently on injured players, our impact reaches far and beyond the individual. We support families, we strengthen communities, we remind the rugby world that no one should be forgotten because they've sustained a permanent injury. Our organisation we'd most like to engage with are communities who are focused on well-being and meaningful social impact. We're after a national brand, a professional services firm, insurer, construction company, etc. We've been privileged to work alongside Rugby Australia, the rugby community clubs, corporate partners, generous supporters who helped us deliver life-changing outcome to our injured players. But the exciting thing which is happening this weekend is we are launching the inaugural Hearts in Rugby Union Awareness Day. Our vision is to grow this day into a nationally recognised charity day for Hearts in Rugby Union, which will be played simultaneously across the nation on the one Saturday. And we're after that will reach about 90,000 players, by the way. So we're seeking a national naming rights partner to help us build the movement. This is more than an event sponsorship. It's an opportunity to become an organisation that stands alongside rugby's injured players and families and helps create a lasting national tradition of recognition and awareness and support. So if you're an organisation looking to align with a purpose that delivers genuine impact while connecting to communities across Australia, I'd welcome an opportunity to have a conversation with you. Thanks very much. I'm Richard Toms from Hearts in Rugby Union.
Fantastic. 3.5 minutes on the dot, Richie. There we go. Fantastic. And yeah, and you know, just to echo some of Richard's comments there, you know, we've worked and we've been proud partners of Hearts and Rugby Union for many, many years. Such incredible work they do. When you hear some of the stories of the you know the impact they've created on rugby players that unfortunately have been injured during the game, it's absolutely phenomenal. Really, you know, tugs at the heartstrings there as well. But you know, Richard and his team are such wonderful people to work with as well. So yeah, please do engage with Richard and the rest of his team and see how we can support you. So thank you very much, Richard. Our next speaker is the wonderful Laura Robinson. Laura is the co-founder and director of Harvey Robinson, also one of the best dressed for our Christmas in July event last week. Very sparkly. So Laura, your 3.5 minutes. Start now.
Excellent. I'm Laura. I'm actually from England, London. You can probably hear from my accent. Fran, I was brought over here on a visa, so I very much understand your business. And Todd, I was relocated from my previous global company. So there's some alignment here, and it's been good to hear your stories. So Harvey Robinson was founded 2 years ago with my previous business partner of the global company I spoke about. And essentially what we do is we hire technology professionals across Australia and New Zealand with a particular focus on those really hard skills to find. Our technology suite covers anything and everything within technology. So, you know, if you think about when your computer breaks down and you need support, that person on the end of the telephone or moving your mouse around on your screen, we'd hire that type of person. We hire cyber professionals. We hire senior people at C-level. So really the whole broad spectrum. The one thing I feel that really makes us stand out is the relationships. We really value building long-term relationships, and over again, our clients come back to us. And that could be one individual hire, or it could be a team of people. And the types of companies that we hire is very broad. Really anything with an IT department or an IT need where you have a problem that you need to resolve. So the kind of customers that we hire into are obviously technology companies. In fact, one of the chamber members, we helped found the whole business here in Australia. They were an English company. They came over to Australia and we've hired the whole team. They're about 15 people, so from the ground up. So technology companies, obviously payments and fintech, banking, education, government. We have a huge government client here in Australia that we hire for. Infrastructure, telco, NFPs. I mean, you name it. Telco. It's vast. Everything and anything, basically. So I think that really pretty much covers it off in a nutshell. I won't go on too much, but we're very passionate about the relationships, which is why we're here today. And building a network and helping solve technology problems is what we love.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Laura. And I think, yeah, echoing Laura's comments as well about that personal approach, I think, you know, there's a lot of you know, sort of recruitment companies out there sometimes that can be a very much a scattergun approach and, you know, all this is stuff. But Laura really does work very closely with her clients, but also those individuals that are going into those roles. And I regularly see, obviously, Laura, on your LinkedIn about, you know, a new person that's gone into the role and how you've sort of trained them into that and helped them into those sort of roles. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And we're delighted to have you on board. So thank you so much, Laura. So that's 5 speakers down so far. We've got four more to go. So please do, for the rest of you, start thinking of some great questions for our speakers so far. We've already had some great speakers there. Please do use the chat box as well. I will be sharing all of our speakers' contact details with everybody on the call as well. So don't worry about getting the contact details. We will be sending those out as well. But please, yeah, start thinking of some questions as well. Our next speaker is probably the most busiest person in the whole of Australia right now. It's Mr. Todd Crooks. Todd is the director of HGL Oceania, and you'll find out why he's so busy. Todd, your 3.5 minutes start now.
Thank you for the introduction. As Paul alluded to, my name is Todd Crooks. I'm one of two directors for HGL Oceania in Australia. A brief history of our company. The business started in the UK about 30 years ago and trades under the name of, Hemisphere Freight Services. The business then expanded into New Zealand approximately 10 years ago and is managed by Richard Davis and his team. And they've emulated the success of our sister company. And wanting to capture that success, HGL Oceania was formed in Australia and is run by myself and my business partner, John Fletcher. So what do we do? Well, HGL Oceania, we're an international freight forwarder. We arrange the international transportation of air and sea shipments, as well as organise customs clearance and delivery services. An example of what we do, if you're looking to import products from another country and you need someone to arrange the transport, we as a freight forwarder manage that aspect of shipping for you. Now, there aren't any particular industries that we're aligned to. I guess the nature of what we do, it's very broad. So we could be asked to import high-end furniture from China. We could be asked to import a container of personal effects from anywhere into the world into Australia, or we could simply look at the export of heavy machinery going to Europe. So this is an interesting stat. So in Australia and New Zealand, there are over 3,000 registered freight forwarders who all provide the same services as what we do. So it's always a challenge to offer points of difference from the competition. Now, I've always believed that the notion of quality over quantity. We try to engage with those customers that can add value to our business, but in return, we always try and add value to theirs in what we can offer both in service and industry experience. An example of where we have used our expertise is we had a customer that had extremely long transit times and their kind of transit time blew out. So we had a chat to that customer, and then what we did, we changed their shipping terms to FOB, which gave them a lot more control. And then by doing that, we're able to give them a better solution, both in transit and in price. We just don't move freight. We're here to help businesses reduce supply chain stress by providing reliable and proactive logistics solutions. So if you're part of a business that does international shipping via air freight or sea freight, then please reach out. So thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Todd. 3 minutes on the dot. There we go. So, and again, yeah, it's as you say, it's about taking that stress out of it. And I think, as you said before, there are a lot of other freight forwarders out there, absolutely, as you'd imagine. But I think it's about having that personalized, contact. Todd is the face of the brand over there. So it's a great opportunity to really build up a relationship with him and seeing how he can support either yourselves or obviously any of your customers as well. So thank you so much, Todd. Our next speaker is Mr. Shane McGeorge. Shane is the Chief Executive Officer for Combinate, a wonderful partner of the Chambers and a partner of our Chamber for a number of years. So Shane, your 3.5 minutes, sir. Start now.
Cool. Thanks, Paul. Looking sharp there today too, so great work. So guys, with a little story. So a few weeks ago, I sat down with the sales team of a company called Tamper Evident, and I asked the team one question. Where do you go to find out an answer for a client? And believe it or not, I got a different answer from every single person in the room. One was a spreadsheet, one was someone's inbox, their ERP, a shared drive, and then one guy just said, "It's the guy next to me," and the other one said, "Just the person who's been here the longest." So, excuse me. So they came to us to implement AI across their company. But what they really need to do is actually understand where their information and their data sits and what is the current state and what's out of date. So as Paul said, I'm Shane McGeorge, CEO of Combinate. We're a digital agency. We build websites and web applications that businesses rely on. So we build member portals, claim systems, insurance platforms, and quality assurance apps for companies like Dulux, Dexus, Careers Please, and Steadfast. And for the British Chamber, we built the website and the member portal that you guys would have logged into to register for this event. So if you do have any feedback on the website, good or bad, please let me know, because we're always trying to improve it and make it a better experience for you all. So I mean, everyone's talking about AI a lot, and we've added that to our service offering over the last year. So it's not uncommon to hear that story, because AI doesn't fix a mess, it just scales it. It makes it actually worse. So, our solution is to help you find out where the truth lives in your organization. We put it in one place and then we build from there. It's not, it's a little bit less exciting, but it does offer way more value, and you need to get the foundations right before you can start leveraging the full power of AI. So who I'd like to meet, mid-sized businesses where sales and operations can be improved and are curious about AI. And our sort of pitch is that we're not going to give you the marketing hype and all the sales pitches. We're actually going to help you implement AI properly, but get the foundations correct first, because it's super powerful, but it can also create a super mess. So our little offer is that chamber members get a complimentary AI assessment from us. You get 30 minutes with me, and then we put together a written summary detailing a few high-value opportunities where AI can work for your business and what it would take to be able to build each of those out. So I say, if you can take one thing away from this, is ask your team and yourself where to go to find out information, and see if they give you a different answer. And if so, you've probably got some work to do, but we would love to help you fix it. But thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Shane. And 3 minutes on the dot as well. Fantastic. And yeah, as we say, obviously we're going to recommend Shane and the fantastic work he does, because, we utilize their services as well. But what a great opportunity to be able to have 30 minutes of Shane's time, pick that, AI brain of his together about, what he can do for you guys. So please, I would definitely recommend getting in contact with Shane as well. So thank you so much, Shane. Our next speaker is one of our newest members of the Chamber. Fantastic, exciting company called Soken. We have Oliver Budniak, who is the Enterprise Sales Manager for Soken. Oliver has been a member of our Chamber in previous forms for a number of years, so you may remember his wonderful face over there. But Oliver, we'd love to hear more about Soken and obviously what you can do to support. So your 3 minutes, sir, start now.
Thank you, Paul. Really, really appreciate it. And really nice to meet everyone today. As Paul said, my name's Oliver Budniak. I head up the enterprise sales for Soken. Originally from the Shire, which isn't Cronulla, but it's Wiltshire, Salisbury in the UK. So famous for Stonehenge and the Novichok poisonings. And then I've been in Sydney now for 10 years and came across with a payments company, and now growing the very exciting fintech, which is Soken. So English founded payments company, has been around for 7 years. It's currently in the top 50 fastest growing fintechs in the world right now. So we have offices in London, New York, Toronto, Belgrade, Singapore, and then soon to be Sydney and Melbourne, where we're growing fairly rapidly at the moment. So we've been in country for 9 months. In terms of what we do, it's very much helping businesses move money globally, whether that's receiving money from your customers overseas, making payroll payments to customers overseas, importing from China, primarily when we're in Australia or anywhere else in the world. We're going to help you manage that process. So we do it using an online portal, which is very, very simple. And what it's trying to do is take away the complexities of online banking with domestic banks and try and keep it as simple as possible. So we work in two ways, both direct with businesses, but then also fully embedded. So businesses that need our solution, such as receiving payments, holding funds in currency and earning interest, reconciling back into your accounting softwares you use. We're really just trying to take the time away, and sorry about the dog, really trying to take the time away from your accounts payable teams, your accounting teams. And the areas where we differ are really, white glove service, dedicated account managers that will hold your hand through onboarding, through, errors or, issues that may come up within your business, and really give that time back. In terms of who we want to meet with and businesses we want to speak with, right now, anywhere where money moves globally, crosses any borders, those are normally a good conversation, a good place to start. Always happy for anyone to give me a call, go for a coffee in Sydney, kind of rack our brain around any ideas or issues or roadblocks you're coming up against with There's no one size fits all. We're very much there to kind of work with you through any issues, whether you're a freight forwarder, Todd. I know Blaine at Hemisphere very well. Met him at the gym more than a few years ago. I've worked with Hemisphere before. Whether you're making payroll payments overseas, there really is no one industry that we work across. But yeah, that's Soken.
Fantastic. Thank you very, very much, Oliver. 3 minutes on the dot as well. God, you guys have been practicing this. This is fantastic. But as we said, obviously there's a number of different companies that do offer a similar sort of service to Soken. But I think, it's about obviously the technology that they have, which is, one of the best technologies, that's in the industry. But I think it's also about the expertise that Oliver and the rest of his colleagues have. Oliver, you've worked in this industry for, a number of years now, inside out and back to front, and also a very highly trustworthy person. I definitely, would definitely emphasize about how trustworthy Oliver and his team are as well. So yeah, please do get in contact with Oliver. They may support Man United, but it's fine for all of us Liverpool fans. We'll just have to live with that one. So yeah. Just put that in there, Oliver. There we go. Our final speaker, and only she can finish us off with a bang. I'm going to keep pumping you up now, so then I'm going to leave it with you here, Amber. We have Amber Evans, who is the new business and partnerships manager for Exemplo. And Amanda finishes off strong. Here we go. 3.5 minutes. Off you go.
Afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here, Paul. It was lovely meeting some of you at the Chamber Networking Drinks last week. If I didn't get the pleasure, my name is Amber Evans, and I'm from Exemplo. Today, you've already heard from a lot of great businesses that help organizations to attract the talent, recruit them, relocate, employ, and grow. Exemplo comes in on the workforce management side, helping businesses to manage what happens after those people become a part of the organization. So one of the biggest challenges we see today is that businesses are growing, but their people processes haven't necessarily grown with them. Contracts sit in inboxes, licenses and qualifications are tracked in spreadsheets, managers chase documents, and training is difficult to monitor, all whilst payroll gets information from multiple different systems. So we often say that most organizations don't have a people problem, they have a process problem. Exemplo helps businesses solve that problem by making it easier to onboard people quickly, confirm they're ready and compliant to work, keep their records and requirements up to date, also ensuring accurate information reaches the payroll. So we do that by bringing together onboarding employee records, contracts, credentials, policies, training, workflows, all into one connected system. This gives employers a clear view of who's ready to work, what's outstanding, and what's due to expire where action is required. So without teams having to manually check spreadsheets, inboxes, and separate systems. As businesses grow, we can see these challenges often becoming much more difficult to manage. So for example, we support professional service organizations of growing teams where people working across these different locations and managers needing to keep track of their employee information, contracts, training, and compliance where they change across the workforce. The challenges aren't necessarily the number of employees, but the amount of administration and work sitting behind each person. Exemplo can help to connect those processes, reduce the double handling, and give the business the visibility over what's complete, what's outstanding, and what needs attention. So when an employer needs help understanding how employment rules apply to their workforce, Exemplo Legal provides specialist employment law and workplace support. Where businesses don't really have the internal capacity or expertise to manage everything themselves, Exemplo offers the specialist services, including managed payroll, HR advisory, employment law, and migration support. This means businesses can use the technology themselves, access specialist expertise, or combine both to meet their needs as they evolve. So helping businesses navigate today's challenges and preparing for the future, we use that technology to remove the repetitive administration, improve visibility, and create a more consistent workforce. The organizations we're looking to connect with today are those experiencing growth, managing multiple locations or entities, finding onboarding compliance, workforce administration becoming a little bit difficult to manage, but we're also open to connecting with businesses here who support employers in other parts of the workforce lifecycle, because there's often a strong opportunity to work alongside complementary providers rather than compete with them. So if you're an organization growing, your people processes are starting to become harder to manage, I'd love a conversation. Thank you, and I look forward to connecting with you all after the session.
Phenomenal. Thank you very, very much, Amber. Very, very well done. And that is that is all of our speakers, which has been absolutely wonderful. It's been so great to obviously understand a bit more about our fellow chamber members, service they offer, who they want to connect with, and really to start engaging with them. So as I say, gives us now a perfect opportunity for the next sort of 15 minutes or so to maybe ask a few questions, have a few conversations. Please, obviously, you can also utilize the chat box here as well. If you do have a question, if you just raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat box and I can ask it for you as well. But maybe I will kick off things because he's so well dressed and he's been stood at this entire time at attention. He's just so good at what he does. Is Mr. Evan Batten. So Evan, I know that obviously, as we were saying before, sometimes the biggest challenge for leaders is they're so good at what their job is and they're so intellectual about their job, all those different things. But then when it comes to having that public persona and having to put themselves out there, which, let's face it, at the moment, I think everybody needs to be able to do. What would be, if you could give somebody just 3 starting pieces of advice, what would be your 3 main bits of advice for somebody, how they can obviously, train themselves into doing that?
I love this topic so much because I know the value of telling stories, right? And I mean, we all do. If I said, let me tell you a story, I'd have your attention for the next, as long as it was interesting, right? The thing is, though, for decades, we've all been taught that our work speaks for itself. And so that's where the focus is. That look at my KPIs, look at what I've achieved, look at how much money we've made, the success of the project. But you are a person, you're a human, you have 3 dimensions to your personal brand. And we don't even think about, we hardly think, we don't want to be influencers, right? We don't want to talk about what we had for breakfast today. Like, we don't want the vacuous, lighthearted, so that sort of content that's really just about vanity metrics, about achieving all those things that we despise about social media, right? But we go too far that way. We think our story's not worth sharing. We stay quiet and we let other people get all the attention. And increasingly, not only are brands seeing that their people are worth more than the brands themselves, but it's your competitors who are already out there. It's the C-suite leaders who have built an online presence already or have established themselves with, you think about even monthly newsletters, right? Some organizations already do video newsletters every month, but their staff teams just get so used to the cadence that they switch off. They know they're supposed to watch the video because it's the boss. Organizations are spending thousands of dollars every month on recurring fees. So the thing I'd say is just start telling your story. Realize that the personal posts that you put out there on LinkedIn, for starters, just one example, they will resonate more with people. You share a post about a birthday or any other sort of personal event. For goodness sake, I put out a post which, didn't really have high value for the content that I do, but it was about my left RM William boot setting off security at the airport. And I don't know why, but it's become the left boot every time. Now to the extent where whenever the alarm goes off, they're a bit suspicious that I know it's my left boot that's going to be the one. Apparently it's the tag. But I did a post on this. It went nuts. And it's just that kind of, we're bored, right? Everybody's bored. We're doom scrolling. So just know that your personal story has incredible value. And so I'd start tapping into that. Be curious about it. Every organization here, if you're not telling your personal story on LinkedIn, you've got to get the tone right, but you've just got extraordinary value. Everything you've already achieved professionally, you can amplify that and magnify your reach just by telling your story more effectively.
Fantastic. That's great advice. Thank you so much, Evan. Mr. Fred Chilton, you're always great for a question. I see you've got your hand raised there. So if you take yourself off mute, please do ask your question, sir.
I do. My question is for Fran, if I may, and it's split in 3 parts. What's your split in terms of Australia and New Zealand in terms of volume? Where do you source your skilled workers from? And are there particular sectors that you focus on?
Hi, Fred. Thanks for those questions. New Zealand is tricky, but we're probably 35% New Zealand, the balance Australia. We don't recruit. So the company will come to us and say, we want to employ this person. Can you do that for us?
Right. Okay.
Or they might come to us and say, we want you to sponsor a worker into Australia. Can you do that for us? So it's either a company, an overseas company for the visa requests, or a company in Australia that's not qualified to sponsor.
Yep. Thank you.
New Zealand is a much smaller market for us.
Was that all your questions there, Fred?
Well, any sector, I'm assuming which sectors.
Oh, sorry. A
sectors.
lot of IT, highly skilled. It might be business development manager, a lot of IT, highly paid tech. What else have we got? Marketing managers.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the question there, Fred. Wonderful. Maybe because nobody else has a question just yet, maybe I'll go to the to my next question. So I'll go to Todd. Obviously, Todd, right now in your world, it's a very, very difficult time. We don't know what's going on with the Middle East, Strait of Hormuz, all that sort of stuff. Do you have any insights into what you think is going to be happening, or is it getting better, or do you think it's potentially going to get a bit worse?
Well, I think the one thing that I am seeing in the industry, especially from those companies that import from China, for example, the carriers are definitely looking to take advantage of certain situations, which again, they're a business, they're allowed to do that. So we see certain pricing has increased out of China, which is definitely making things more expensive when they're landed. A good customer might import high-end furniture from China, and obviously trying to pass on those type of margins is difficult. So it makes business difficult. But that's out of China. Out of the US, it's pretty similar. Out of Europe, not so much. So it's really dependent on where you're importing your goods from. And it's very hard to try and gauge where it's going to go. I know from the subcontinent, containers out of Nova Shiva going into Europe are very expensive. They're getting very expensive coming into Australia as well. But again, from the UK coming down to Australia, I think it's quite reasonable, both air and sea freight. So it's, again, you look at those populous markets and they are being capitalized, upon, making more revenue. So, but again, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. We're at that position where, everyone's in a bit of a stalemate, that they're trying to forecast pricing, but it's just too difficult. That makes it hard to go about business. And we have seen it in especially in my industry, where we have seen the kind of opportunities be withdrawn compared to what they were 6 months ago. So we're fighting hard to get more business like that, because people are kind of sitting on the fence. They're not committing to a certain strategy or whatever the business entails. They're just not committing to it because of a multitude of different reasons, but price being one.
And I guess we're all waiting to see what Donald might do next as well. So,
well, unfortunately,
which is anybody's guess.
Well, as we spoke about before we went live, I did have him on hold there for a while, but unfortunately, he had to go and play a round of golf at Mar-a-Lago, so he couldn't stay.
I was going to say, did he hang up? Oh, geez, come on, Don. No, fantastic. Thank you very much, Todd. Good insights from yourself there as well. Maybe I will ask the next question as well. Let's go to John Johnson over at Crown World Mobility. So obviously, John, one of the biggest aspects of anybody that's obviously moving overseas is it's about where they're going to, the housing. That's always going to be a crucial aspect, isn't it? Because when you're moving over there, you need to know that you've got somewhere that you're going to be able to live, and you don't want to have to go to the expense of you constantly going out, things like that. Is that a big part of what you guys also do to support internationals coming out, is finding them and their families residence?
It's probably the biggest thing, Paul, at the moment. Because if you look at the capital cities in Australia, the vacancy rates at the moment are diabolical. When you've got someone coming from London, generally they'll land in Sydney or Melbourne. The company will give them 3 weeks in, one of those, temporary units that are all over the cities, a Quest or something like that. They'll spend 3 or 4 weeks there, but then they want to find a home. And so we have a team of people in each capital city who are kind of specialists in home finding, who have good relationships with the realtors, and who know what needs to be done to get that person kind of to the front of the contract queue, if you like. But it's, when someone arrives, it's generally their biggest concern is, where am I going to live? Is it going to be a nice suburb? Is it near the office? Is it near the beach? It's all that stuff.
And as you say, housing right now is difficult to come by, and obviously rental price, things like that. So do you guys, I take it, give them a full plethora of the type of properties that you have on your books, for instance, or you could get, and the pricing and all those sort of things?
Yeah, I mean, the company normally decides, right? It depends on the seniority of the individual,
Right,
so,
yeah.
I mean, some people that come here will have a budget, that they could rent, a nice place on the North Shore, and others not so, so you kind of have to work within the budget. And, some companies will say, we want them within 20 miles of the office or 20 k's of the office. So, depending on the organization, there's always some rules around there in terms of, where they can live and the kind of property that ultimately that they can get for themselves. Yeah.
No, fantastic. Thank you very much, John. Now, still, everybody's a bit too shy to ask questions, so I'm going to keep going with my questions. Don't worry about it; it's absolutely fine. Maybe I will now go to Laura Robinson. Obviously, right now the market is, we went through COVID, and that was obviously working from home, but then the tech rolls just went like this. Then it went down a bit. What's the market currently looking like now for getting those great tech people into business? Is it a very, very competitive market at the moment? Is it difficult to find those sort of people? And are companies having to go above and beyond to attract these sort of companies at the moment, or individuals? Sorry. Oh, you're on mute.
There you go. Interestingly, in COVID, that was one of our best times for hiring because everybody was going remote. There was such a big need for technology. And people think that technology has died down. I don't ever see that. Technology is buoyant. Everyone always needs technology, so we're always hiring. In the last kind of few months, I would say that AI obviously has been pretty huge. I've recently hired a whole team for a global business here in Australia, a whole team of AI people. So AI PMs, AI BAs, AI adoption managers, which I'd never heard of. That was a very tricky role to hire into because it wasn't out there. So I was headhunting people and looking for personality traits and skills that would lend itself well to that type of role. And then, of course, cybersecurity, that's been pretty huge as well this year. So there's never a dull moment. It's never quiet. It's always on the go. But yes, lots of headhunting, lots of networking. And I would say that companies always need to do their best to attract because, candidates do have a bit of a pick. They don't have to just move. Of course, there are the big company layoffs and you do find people that are looking, but I would say they're not the niche skills.
And you also, because obviously, one thing that COVID did is it allowed people to work remotely a lot more than, maybe what we've ever done before.
Yeah.
And then once we all started coming back, I think, people got quite used to that working remotely. I think it really worked for them and their lifestyle and things like that as well. Are you finding that is also a prerequisite for a lot of people that are being employed, that they want to have that freedom to be able to either work from home or come into the office? Or are you finding that companies are now sort of trying to mandate it, trying to get everybody back in?
Yeah. There's a lot of companies mandating 5 days back.
Yeah.
So that is happening a lot. There's another global trading company. They asked every employee to come back 5 days. There was a bit of movement there because not everybody liked that. A lot of the managed service providers and IT consulting businesses want their people back 5 days. But then there's the other companies that are very flexible and you can work from home 4 days and be in the office 1 day. So there's a real spread, but I do see more companies trying to get their employees back for sure.
Yeah, no, fantastic. No, thank you very much for that. Now, I'm conscious of time because we've only got a couple more minutes until 5 o'clock. So maybe I will leave the questions there and take this time to thank all of our speakers once again for your wonderful insights into your businesses, for us all to be able to connect with you. Please, everybody that's on the call and everybody that's going to watch the recording of this as well, please do connect with our fantastic speakers, build those close relationships, take advantage of the wonderful offers that they gave. I mean, Shane, to be able to have some of Shane's time to be able to understand more about what you and your company could be doing better in that AI and data space. Please do take them up on that. We do have our fantastic fantastic team on the call as well. I have Kristen, who's our head of, there she is, Kristen Ellen, who's our head of partnerships in Perth on the call. Mackie Joyce, who's our head of partnerships in Victoria on the call as well. Samantha, unfortunately, couldn't join us, but she's our head of partnerships in Queensland. If there's anything that our team can do to assist, please do reach out to us as well. It would be remiss of me to not mention about more of the wonderful events we have coming up, because we have so many. But in Adelaide on the 11th of August, we have our fantastic Water Thought Leadership Forum taking place there. In Perth with Kristen, we have our Defence Industry Lunch with the wonderful Luke Pollard MP on the 17th of August. In Melbourne, we have a geopolitics briefing on the 24th of August. We also have a New South Wales Defence Forum here in Sydney. We've got so many different events coming up, and obviously I'm sure that Richard will agree as well from Hearts and Rugby Union. A lot going on with rugby as we lead into the Rugby World Cup. England didn't win the Football World Cup. We were cheated out of it by Argentina. Yes, I'm going to say that live on here, but it means that now we can concentrate on the rugby, and maybe England can do better in that instead. So yeah, there's going to be a wonderful, huge amount of events that we'll be doing around that at the same time. But for now, thank you everybody for joining us on this call. Look forward to seeing you all and the rest of our team do at various events across the country. But if there's anything we can do, please let us know. And for now, have a wonderful evening, great weekend ahead, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, Paul. Bye.